Hey gang, Sam here. In this episode of GarageCast, we bring back on board FJ Frazier. FJ is the COO from Gage Marine. I recently did a speech at his employee appreciation night, and I was so overwhelmed by the night, and I think dealers have so much to learn from it, that we had him deconstructed on the podcast. So enjoy this episode of GarageCast.
This is a show for anybody that has something that they want to say. It's going to be full of people with a lot of energy, CEOs, OEMs, vendors.
Best practice ideas in this industry and of neighboring industries.
We're talking to people that are on the cutting edge of processes, management.
Serial entrepreneurs, authors. We really have a feast of all different types of senior level people.
A cornucopia, as it were.
A plethora, maybe. Grab a pen, grab a cup of coffee, and have a seat. Start writing. This is GarageCast.
GarageCast. Welcome to GarageCast. It is very few people that make it for a second recording.
Indeed.
And it's not only very rare. Well, that's not true. I guess the NPA guys, they're here, all the time. They're like regulars now. But it's very rare to get you on a second time. It's even more rare when I think it's even been less than a year since we've had FJ Frazier on the podcast. That was just recent, wasn't it?
It was. When was that, FJ? I know it was your mom's birthday, so you know the date.
It was October 17th. That's a big day. A lot of things happened on October 17th. Yeah, good old mom. We're not calling her today. Just let's get that straight.
I think we should call her today because that was hilarious. Like, hey, mom, we want to put you on the podcast. Well, how do I get on the podcast? And you're like, you're on it right now. Yeah. So I think that should be a part of the show is, hey, mom, just called to let you know that this is your second appearance on a podcast. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that. We'll do that the third time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I
the
like
assumptive
that.
close. I do like that. Yeah.
Well, so
Tony, we had to get FJ back on for a reason that the listeners are going to hear very shortly. So I'm excited to have him back on. And I think, FJ, you've got some big news before we get into today's content, don't you? Big day for you today.
Big day today for Gage Marine. We're going to close on a marina in Green Lake, Wisconsin. We bought 16 acres of land there in April, and we've had the opportunity to buy a marina on the lake there. Green Lake's an amazing lake in Wisconsin. It's over 7,000 acres of water. It's the deepest lake in Wisconsin. The town's it's about 1,000 people, but it's definitely a summer destination place. It really fits into our long-term strategy. We've been targeting, with our growth strategy at Gage, we've been targeting markets where we think there's plenty of runway left for growth. So now we're in Lake Geneva. We were in Minocqua. And now we're going to be in Green Lakes. There's no better bodies of water really in the state of Wisconsin than those three lakes.
That's awesome, man. That's good to hear. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, right.
So, Dantzler, give the listeners a little color on why we're back here. You got back from this trip that you recently took, and you were pretty excited about this event. So let's explain to them what went down.
Yeah, well, at the time of the recording, it was about a week and a half ago that I was out there, and FJ had me out to speak at their employee appreciation event. And I think you and I have seen some employee appreciation events through the years, Tony, but I had never seen something on this scale. I had never seen something that meant so much to the owners and the management team and the staff as this event, and how the whole thing came together really moved me. And so I wanted FJ to come on and unpack that, because I think there's an opportunity for our dealers in our network, both marine and power sports, to do some version of this in this recognition of the staff and what it really means. Well, I'm going to let FJ explain ultimately what it means to them and how it fits into their culture. So that was the impetus for this.
All right, well, let's kick this off. FJ, you have a very cool history with the owner of Gage Marine, Bill Gage. Walk us through that history and how you came back to working together.
So Bill Gage is, he's third generation. His grandfather, Russ Gage, founded Gage Marine in 1958. And my dad was one of the first employees for the Gage family. And, God, Sam, you do this to me every time.
I didn't do it.
You can't cry on question one.
I know.
Let's save that till 5.
It's just a lot of memories, when you think about your dad. So
yeah,
yes.
Anyway, Billy and I grew up together. Our families grew up together. We ended up leaving the Lake Geneva area, both of us, to pursue our careers. Came back, ended up living on the same block to raise our kids and our families. And I was in a seasonal business and Billy was in a seasonal business, but they were opposite. And so we just spent a lot of time together talking about things. I ended up selling my business when I turned 50 and really started doing some other things here and there. And but really didn't have a purpose. And Billy said, "Hey, did you ever think about coming to Gage and help me run the day-to-day?" God, Sam, what is...
You're okay.
And
that's why I love having you on.
Yeah. And so it was kind of a dream come true, and had no idea what we'd turn this thing into in 6 short years. And Billy really gave me a ton of rope and a lot of money to reinvest in this amazing company. And it's just not a boat dealership. We have 6 businesses here in Lake Geneva area. We have the marine division. We have the cruise line. We have that's over 150 years old. We have a restaurant that we launched in 2012. We have a catering business. We have a retail store operation. We have a pier business. And so there's a lot going on. And so it was too big of a company, quite frankly, for one person to run. And I think I have a lot of respect for Bill for reaching out to say, "Hey, I need help." And we really kind of I think hit our stride. First year we had to fix everything, had to reassess everything. We had to relaunch the culture. Sam, I love your comment about culture is not taught, it's caught. And so needless to say, I came back to help Billy take this company to the next level. And there's a book called Rocket Fuel. And it's really is what it's about. Billy's a visionary. I'm a visionary too. I'm very creative, but I'm also an operation person. So we kind of figured out our lanes and we set on that path. So we've been on a great run, and we're continuing to hopefully be on for a while. So,
and where does Bill Grunow fit into this equation?
Bill Grunow, it's a great story. Bill and his father had a marina called Majestic Marine. They had it for over 25 years. Bill and his family and our family were friends. Our kids grew up together. I take the job in November of 18. We go out to dinner over Christmas break with the Grunows, and he says, "I hear you went to work for Gage Marine." I said, "Yes." He says, You're crazy. What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm happy what I'm doing." He sold his business too. And I said, "Well, Bill, I really need somebody to come run this marine division. I've got big plans and we want to do this, and this." And he's like, "Well, good luck," and he called me the next morning and said, "I'm on the team. I'm coming on." So the rest is history.
That is so cool. I sit here and I think about, you grew up with these guys.
Yeah.
And then all of you had your own careers and you were all very successful, and you came back to the one location and now you're all hanging out. And it's just like the climate has to be so cool on a different level, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know, something, I don't know. It's really rewarding to me in my career, and I'm 60 and I'm doing a lot of self-reflection now that I turned 60, but it's really rewarding to build amazing companies and amazing teams, and to go to places that no one believed we could go to, and to turn a team of employees. When I got here, we had about 420 employees. half of them part-time because we're in the seasonal business. This year we finished over 649 employees. So we've grown to over 200 employees in 5 years. And we've grown responsibly, but it's really rewarding to be able to come back to the town you grew up in and have an impact on the community.
Yeah.
And have an impact on people's lives. So
well, FJ, one of the things I was really impressed with were these business cards of core value that they were spread out at the event, and these are obviously an integral part of what you believe in and what you expect from your team and yourselves. So tell us a little bit about the core values. What are they, and why do you think it's important for your team to know them and live them?
Hey, Sam, really quick, and FJ, I just want to ask this just for the listeners, and I have to imagine I know the answer, but Employee Appreciation Night is employees from top to bottom, people that take out the trash all the way up to the top that are running the whole entire thing, correct? Yeah. So it's everybody.
It's everybody. Got it. And their spouses or significant others. Okay. We started this when I came back in 2018. I was trying to, I interviewed every employee, and I have the journal right here next to my desk. And it was very apparent that we could do a better job celebrating our accomplishments as an organization. And one of the things, again, I go back and learn about. It's amazing what you can accomplish, and I think a lot of times we don't stop and smell the roses and acknowledge all the effort and the accomplishments that an organization gets done in a year. And with us having so many different businesses here, I think it's really important to have one night a year that we can stop and reflect on the amazing things that we do as an organization. And so we relaunched this employee appreciation event, and Billy and I kind of ham and egg it. And we reflect on the year, and we make sure we acknowledge things that we did as a collective organization. And it's a great night. I mean, and the spouses love it, and the significant others love it, and the employees love it, And so I think it's really important, and it's healthy for the organization. And the other thing that really led me to do it too was I was blown away when I got here and I met these people that have worked here 35 years, 42 years. Last night we had a captain's dinner, you guys, for our cruise line. We started this tradition 5 years ago. We bring all the captains back because there's cruise lines going to start up and running. We do talk safety and do all that stuff, but we also have a dinner. And we had 2 guys last night, 3 guys actually. One was 52 years, one was 56 years, and one is 49 years,
Damn.
That they've been employed by this company. So, I think that speaks volumes of the Gage family and what they do for the people and the communities and the employees. And I thought we thought it was really important to acknowledge that.
And what was the how many years total now have you guys been tag teaming this event?
That would have been my 6th year. 6th year. So I came on board in November of 18. So
So for the listeners out there, the main message of this podcast is to up your game when it comes to employee appreciation nights.
Yeah, I think too often we forget the true cost of turnover, of employee turnover. Right. And so the math alone tells us we must be more focused on this. But just the idea that these people have become family within the organization, they tend to stay so much longer. Okay, FJ, you guys, these business cards, and I'm holding one up to the camera called Core Values. They're very important to you guys. They were spread out all amongst the tables, core values and core focus. Why is it important for you to have these core values? And then why is it important for you to make sure that the staff knows them and carries these cards along with them?
Well, a couple of things, our core values, I think, is really what you get up every day to go to work for. And so, our core value is real simple. It's a commitment to excellence with a passion for fun. We serve our customers, our colleagues, in the community. And on those cards, we attach a Burgee pin and I didn't have one here, but we pin employees. And I got this idea when I worked for Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer would have a rainbow umbrella pin that he would hand out to people that he met or people, did something nice or something. So I wanted to use the pin and the core values card. We want to acknowledge employees who demonstrated living the core values while working on the job. And, I think it's a really good thing to do, and it helps reinforce people's to go above and beyond. And it doesn't have to be by your boss. It could be by a peer who acknowledged something that you did or demonstrated. So it's a really neat tradition.
I love it. And it's pretty simple, right? Commitment to excellence, to serve our customers, colleagues, and community, and a passion for fun. But sometimes it's that proactive daily reminder of, hey, man, this is what we're selling. In addition to an amazing boat ride on the water, in addition to buying a boat from us or eating in our restaurant, this is what we're selling with every person every time. So I love the core values card.
And part of our employee appreciation night, Sam, and you were there, was we went through the 3 core values of the company and demonstrated things we did over the past year. We obviously honored we talked about customers, and we talked about our colleagues, but we also talked about the community and what we've done to the community as a corporate. And I think it's really critical for any successful business needs to give back to their community, because without your community support, you really wouldn't be successful. And so that's really important that we honor all 3 of those pillars of our core values.
Hey, FJ, you kick off the event with the growth of both business and the staff. You've already alluded to the staff growth that you guys have partaken. Talk to us about the growth in business. Anything outside of the new dealership. Talk to us about that.
So, the first year or so or two, we really wanted to get processes in place and get the staffing right and get accountability in place, and then. We were hit with COVID, and I think some people figured out how to pivot and survive, and some people just kind of just stood there. And I think we pivoted and we wanted to keep things rolling and got creative, but we got through that. And obviously, the boat business was a benefactor of that. Post COVID, during COVID, and the restaurant business and so forth. Our state really didn't shut down. Our neighboring states did. So we benefited from that, but it allowed us to lay our future growth out where we wanted to go and identify opportunities. And we really wanted to focus on things that we were good at. And we identified, our core businesses. And so then that's how we decided to grow to Minocqua. We also opened a second location here in Lake Geneva. We're about to open a third location. The second location was in Fontana, Wisconsin, which is at the west end of our lake. Our lake is, 9 miles long and 26 miles around. So it's a big body of water. And now we're opening up another store, a pop-up store in Lake Geneva, which is the main destination for tourism. And we're hoping that's going to help drive business, not only for the tour boat business, which is based out of there, but also our Lake Life store and also the restaurant and as well as, marine division as well. But it's a 800 square foot brand experience store, very similar to kind of what we opened in Fontana. Really cool video screens, a lot of Gage gear, and then you'll be able to buy tickets and make dinner reservations and so forth. So that's that. And obviously with all that growth, the marine division grew substantially in the last 5 years. The restaurant business grew substantially in the last 5 years. And the cruise line, we just had a record year in the cruise line. We had more tours than we've ever had before. Really doing it. Part of this is that we're meeting people outside of our company that are really smart and know their expertise. I'm a big believer of you're only good as the company you keep. And I graduated from the University of Iowa very proudly with a 2.02 GPA, but But I was the Miller Brewing marketing rep, and had a lot of fun and learned a lot of good things with that. But I learned to surround yourself with really smart people, and we've the tour boat business. We hooked up with a digital company that is really smart. We used to do about 65% of our tickets were walk-up sales, and now we're 65% online, and it's really flipped the model and increased the sales. And obviously, the boat business, we're all nervous of what's happening with the boat business now. We're staying very positive, and we're hoping to get through that. But we have we're very bullish. Obviously, we're buying a dealership in Green Lake today, so we think there's still a lot of opportunity. So,
man, that is. That is really exciting, Tony. Hopefully you can kind of visualize along with our listeners, like how this night is rolling out. And by the way, as they're talking about those pillars of the core values, there's a corresponding video of their staff engaged in all of these activities at all of these different business venues while they're celebrating some of these pieces. It's a really neat piece. And then they show the growth of the business as well, and kind of how each business unit is doing, which I got to tell you, FJ, my favorite part of the night, and you probably have several of them, but I really love that you took ample time to recognize all of the employees, not just the captains. You mentioned that earlier, but all of the employees based off of buckets of milestones. 1 year people, let's put your hands up, and they all came up to the stage and we celebrated. And then you go to 5 years and stuff like that. Tell us about that segment and what are your milestones? How high did we get that night?
So we do 5-year segments. We honor all new hires. We welcome them all first. That's right, Sam, that we did have everyone stand up that was recently hired. And then we go to 5-year increments. And, I think we had, this year we had a 45-year, employee, and we had 2 40-year employees. That's mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. So yeah, it's in 5-year buckets, and we do a little take the time and effort to tell a funny story about the employee or something that they're known for, and it's a special night. It's a special night.
FJ, if you were to guess how many people got up and came to the stage that you then told a funny story about and gave them an award and all that kind of stuff, within all of those buckets, how many people are we talking about?
Oh, I'd say close to 40.
Wow.
It was really cool. And Tony, it just goes back to like, this event really was about them. It wasn't an event to check a box to say we did an employee appreciation night. They live it and breathe it. And it was I don't know, FJ, I have to say it was an emotional night for me too. I know it was for you.
There you go, Sam. Yes, it was. I mean, listen, it's a blessing and a curse that I'm so emotional, but I think it just shows how passionate I am about my job and my career. But I'll cry at a commercial, for Irish Spring, for God's sake, so it's just who I am. And, I get embarrassed by it, but at the end of the day, I love what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite part of the night, FJ?
I would say it's the acknowledgement of, taking the time and effort to call somebody up on stage in front of 275 people and thank them for their dedication and commitment to this organization. And, my advice to other owners, it is what it's worth, but you don't have to pay people all the money in the world. I think if you treat your employees with respect and you know, and they leave every night that they're valued and wanted and needed and appreciated, I think that goes a long way. And I think a lot of people leave jobs because they don't feel respected. They don't feel needed. They don't feel appreciated. And I think that's, I certainly try to go make that happen in my rounds when I'm working. I'm moving sometimes too fast. And, but I think to acknowledge people is really critical for your company's success. Great companies are not built by great products. They're built by great people. and those products come from the people, and so, and I look at some of the best companies in the world, and you look at Apple and some of these companies, and they have phenomenal product, but they have phenomenal people, and it goes back to, building the organization, with the right people, that want to go do the right thing.
Yeah. Well, that's, counterbalance that your favorite part of the night. What do you think your team's favorite part of the night is?
I think it would be similar, I mean, we're all there for a common cause. And, my other favorite thing of the night is when I have people come up to me and thank me, employees and spouses, and, I had a new employee spouse come up to me and said, I have to tell you, my husband is a new man since he's come to work for your company.
Oh, wow.
And, said, wow, that's amazing. He comes home, he's happy. Our relationship is really stronger than it's ever been. And he's appreciated. And, he spent 30 years and every day he came from work and he hated his job. And, I talked a little bit about that, Sam, that night about myself personally. I was vice president of marketing for a Fortune 500 company, Kohl's department stores. We were on a rocket ship, and the day I pulled into that place is the day I wanted to leave that place. I was like, and I did 500 emails a day, and I was miserable, and you spend more time in your job than you really do with your family. So you really got to make sure that you set your company up right where people want to be there, and want to contribute. And, my big thing lately, you guys, is I get frustrated when employees complain or, talk about things without elevating them. And I said, guys, I can't fix what I don't know. And, it's imperative, if you're not happy with what we're doing, please speak up. Right. And, I think that's really critical that you, as a leader of a company, you have to make sure your employees feel empowered to be able to go to you with some tough conversations. So you can help them.
Yeah. Well, and FJ, I that little mini tour that you gave me before the event started, we went to where they're building the wooden boats, Tony, and their new service center and all that kind of stuff. And these guys light up, the guys and gals, when FJ walks in, they light up, right? So that tells you something about the leadership. It's not like, oh God, here's FJ. What have I done wrong? Right? It's just the complete opposite. So, I keep talking about they were all in on this night, including an awesome band. And I got to tell you guys, like my 15 to 20 minute little speech was right in between about an hour and a half of an open bar and dinner and all these employee appreciations award and then the band. And so I don't know if they were happy to see me or happy to have me leave to get to the band. You can guess it yourself for the listeners out there, but I did love the band. And I think you did a great job picking that band. How'd you find them? And then relative to the entertainment you've brought in year over year, what's the craziest story about any of the entertainment you've had in the past?
Well, I mean, this year was, we booked Elvis impersonator, and we just wanted something different and something fun. We do a dinner concert series in the wintertime with the restaurant. The room that we had the event in is also our boat show room in the summertime, Sam. And so in the wintertime, we do a dinner concert series, and we have 6 of them. We do those in the off season to try to cover some of the overhead of our cooks in the restaurant. And because it slows down because of the seasonal business. And so we booked Elvis this year, and he's 22 years old. He finished in the top 10 Elvis impersonators in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And he's from the local area. And the band, I mean, Sam, did you see the band? The average guy was like 75,
He clearly had a band for hire while he was the show, and he was amazing.
Yeah, he did great. And we've had dueling pianos. That was a great time. Those were a lot of fun. And we had a comedy sports come one year, but and DJ. But at the end of the day, I think you got to book a band. And so and I take full responsibility, Sam. I should have had you speak first before the cocktail started flowing. But all in all, people definitely appreciated your speech. And, I reached out to Sam because, I wanted Sam to share the insight of that all of us are in sales. Every one of us, whether you drive the truck, whether you cut the grass, whether you're a captain on a boat or a mechanic, a busser, anything. It was really important for us as we start our season to communicate that to our employees, that how important they are, in that. And so that's why, Sam came out and spoke to us. And one of the things I shared with Sam, and even that night I shared it we have a lakefront operation. It's basically 40 kids under the age of 21. And when I first got here, the tip pool was $14,000 for the summer. And this statistic is mind-boggling when you hear it. And last year, the kids made $74,000 in tips that pier. In tips, but they make it because we do training with them. But I really made it a focus of mine when I got here, being a local and knowing the lake, how important it was that these kids are the first person to meet our customer and the last person to thank the customer. And it has been mind-boggling how this organization has really come together, and if people literally come here to watch these kids drive these boats and park boats. But these kids learn the customer's name. They come in, hey, Mr. Johnson, how are you today? Mr. Johnson has guests on the boat. Mr. Johnson, can I empty your garbage? Can I fuel your boat up? Blah blah blah. And the customers are like, oh my God, they feel like kings, and they are kings. But, it's just really amazing. One little thing culturally, get those young kids to make the impression. It literally changed. It was a game changer, versus guys sitting on the phone at the end of the pier, waiting for a boat to pull up, So we throw all the phones in a Home Depot bucket every morning and get on the pier and, go have fun. So.
Love it. Yeah, that Elvis guy was top notch. Any crazy stories about your entertainment through the years? Anyone that you can share with us?
I mean, I don't really have too many crazy stories, except for I have a tendency to dance, and so there was a few dance parties that I got myself into at employee appreciations, but I've toned that down a little bit. So
I'm hesitant to ask this next question, but I'm going to do it anyway, man. What part of the night brings you to tears?
Oh, well, you guys are.
What part doesn't bring you to tears? How about that? Just tell us which one doesn't. What is it that gets you spun up?
Well, I think. I think the whole night gets me into tears, honest with you. But I think, again, honoring people that, I've only been here 6 years. And so, it gets really emotional for me when, I see someone dedicate their life to a single organization, for that long of a time, I've had, 6 jobs or 7 jobs in my life. These younger generation, to get them to stay around is really important, and that's one of the things we did talk about on that employee appreciation night. One of our goals as an organization is identify the future leaders of this company of Gage Marine, and who are they, and what are we doing to empower them and educate them and train them and give them the tools and resources to be successful leaders. And so we have 2 programs we kicked off last year. One is called Emerging Leaders, which are really young up and comers out of college, that have demonstrated the smarts and the wits to take it to the next level. And the other one is for our management team, leadership fundamentals. But what's really important is, quite frankly, a lot of these people are leaving their jobs, young people, because they don't see a path and they don't see a future, and they also don't feel valued or respected or appreciated. And so, you got to remember, my town is 1,400 people. Lake Geneva is a bigger community, but this is not a major metropolitan area. For us to to get and retain and keep employees is vital to our success. And it's critical that, we do that. I mean, it's critical that we have employees. If we don't have employees, we don't have a business. So I'm kind of rambling on, but I'm just telling you how important the youth is, and the future generation of our company is in the hands of our future leaders.
Well, FJ, maybe that's the answer to my next question here. And this is my final question. But one of the hardest things that Tony and I see year over year is when you're expanding as a business, when you're growing in employees, you're growing in rooftops, whatever it happens to be, how do you take that mom and pop feel and roll it out into a big corporate entity? How do you keep that feeling?
I think you be humble, and you be genuine, and you be vulnerable, and, not be the guy who knows everything in the room. And you try to maintain that family culture. There's not a week that doesn't go by.
I was trying to get you off of Tony's emotional.
There's not a week that goes by, that someone doesn't come to me for money. And say, hey, I need $1,500. And, that didn't happen at Kohl's department store. You didn't go ask Kohl's department store for $1,500 because your hot water heater went out, and I think when you say you're a family business, you have to be a family business. You have to back that up. And so that means that, sometimes things are not black and white, and, and you have to do things, on the fly. But I think, we're growing, and, I think unfortunately, as you grow, you do need structure, and you need systems and processes and policies. And, one of the things, continuity, like how we sell a boat here is how we got to sell a boat in Minocqua, and the same paperwork and the same process and the closing timeframes and et cetera. Right. I mean, those are all guaranteed, but at the end of the day, if I can go up to a higher level, it comes down to, culture. And, also we're not absentee owners, and Bill Gage will clean out any toilet in any boat without a questions asked. And if it's backed up, and I would do the same. And I would never ask one employee of the 649 that we have to do something that I would not do myself. And I think that's how you try to maintain that mom and pop stuff as we continue to grow.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, good answer. FJ, so for dealers out there in the marine power sports space that don't do something like this, and you hear employee appreciation night, which is we take them out for pizza and we buy them as many pitchers of beer as we can, and that's what we do for them. I have a couple of phases to this question. How do you implement it? And obviously, this can't just be that you are putting this together and throwing it out there. Like, it seems like there's a team that does this to find the talent, but give us a couple of things of how we get this started in the industry or at the dealership level.
Well, I mean, we have a dealership in Minocqua.
Yep.
There's 10 employees there, and this is our first year, so we'll be doing the same thing up there. But it can start as simple as that. It's as simple as, hey, it's important for us, so we want to take you and your significant other out for dinner, and oh, by the way, make a few announcements about what we accomplished, and then acknowledge some people for some things. One of the things we did too, we announced to everyone who got promoted this year at our employee appreciation event, and to give that employee a little bit of spotlight that they got to the next level. So I would say start small and start simple. And we Sam, you said this to me, and Tony, you did. We have so many assets here because of our diversification, but if I'm just a power sport, if I'm a boat dealer, and that's how we have, I mean, I would just, make sure you make quality time to honor your employees, through one simple night or afternoon recognition, and, we do lunches, throughout the year, seasonally with the divisions and so forth. But I think in terms of employee appreciation, start small and be genuine. And not like, oh, I'm just going to buy you pitchers of beer and I check the box. Invest the time and effort to acknowledge your employees for what they do for you and do for us as an organization. Not one person runs this company. Not one person. It takes the famous line. It takes a village. And sometimes you need to have a parade in your village so you can celebrate.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think I look at, I'm a big sports fan. I look at great teams and that be successful and why certain organizations are better than others. And, it's all, I'm sorry. It's all about the people. It's all about the people. And, I bought a business once from this guy and he told me the employees are tools. The employees are just your tools, FJ. So you just go to your toolbox and have them go do their job. I said, I can't swear here, but I said, I just literally almost puked when he said that to me. And, what an amazing statement by an owner of a business. They'd say your employees are just tools and you use them every day to make your money. And, they're not they're not your tools, that was really, really, something that I've taken with me for the last 25 years of my life. And I would not be here today, or I wouldn't be successful in life if it wasn't for employees. And they're not employees. I hate this is what I also hate. I don't hate. That's a bad word. I don't like when someone says FJ's my boss. I'm not your boss, buddy. I'm your coworker.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately, at some point I have to make decisions that are really tough. And so that's the cross that I bear, but I also accept that responsibility. But at the end of the day, I'm no special, no better than you, my friend. And I can tell you right now, probably majority of people that work for me are smarter than me. I've been gifted with the ability to have common sense and gut instincts and was raised to treat people with respect. So anyway,
I think that last 5 minutes right there is why Gage Marine is where it is right now, FJ. That mindset that you have that you've pushed to the whole company.
Thank you.
Thank you.
FJ, thank you for coming on. Thanks for keeping it together for 45 minutes, buddy. You're always, I think we're going to make you more regular than just twice now. This is going to be good.
Well, I'm going to work on, maybe I'll go to what's that? Dale Carnegie and learn how not to cry when I cry.
I think that's one of your greatest qualities is that you're not afraid to say, man, this makes me emotional. I think it's a superpower. It's awesome. It shows that you care. That's great.
Again, thank you guys for all you do for our industry. I don't think people thank you enough. So I'm honored to be associated with you guys.
As are we, FJ. Thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with us and sharing some of your secret sauce on your employee appreciation. For FJ Frazier and Sam Dantzler, I'm Tony Gonzalez. This has been GarageCast. Have a fantastic Tuesday.
Thanks, everyone.